Hello, and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. I would like to thank our sponsors at Parseghian Partners. Parseghian Partners, they specialize in employee benefits, wealth management, and retirement planning. They're one of the top 50 fastest growing companies in the nation. President Sean Rabinowitz, proud supporter of Husky Talk. Also, Green Street Trust International, run by former teammate and friend Rennell Jump. They offer a variety of services, but they specialize in tax planning. So they will sit down with you and put together a strategic tax plan that will save you money. We're talking thousands upon thousands of dollars. They've gotten people returns when they thought they were going to have to pay out their ass. Green Street Trust is the place to go. Nobody is better than Rennell Jump. Go to www.greenstreettrust.com. And now for the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, a UConn legend himself, Mr. Kevin Bannister. Welcome to Husky Talk.
Hey, Steve, appreciate you having me on.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm gonna have to carry that intro with me for the rest of the day, man. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
I don't know about legend, but I appreciate the intro.
I try to come up with good intros. And well, you were a captain, and I think you were a pretty good player. So I think the intro is justified as far as I'm concerned. But first of all, I just wanted to get your thoughts on recently. You know, we had a good season, went to the bowl game, took care of business there. Were you able to watch the team at all?
I watched it. I watched it from here. My son is still pretty active. He's a sophomore in high school, so we had some stuff going on that weekend.
Oh, great!
Definitely, I've had an opportunity to watch the game, man. And I'll tell you, it was a beautiful thing, brother. To see where we've come from, to see them at that stage on the national stage like it was, and to really just be a dominating force in that game against a team like North Carolina that everyone knows, and obviously they probably know even more with Belichick coming in. But man, it was a beautiful thing, man. It felt so good as not only as an alumni, but as somebody that kind of went through the grind of building. And I know you had Belcour on here the other day, and man, everything he said was spot on, man. We built the foundation, helped build this foundation, and to see them play at that platform and at that level, at that elite level. I mean, I think the last time that I felt this good, it was when y'all played Georgia Southern, and that was with the Pup, when Pup was there and Carl Bond. I'm not sure.
98. Yep.
Yeah, 98. Yeah. And that was another time where it was like, dang, I'm so proud of these kids, man. So proud of the effort. So proud of how they went out there and played. And, playing in Boston, I mean, obviously, it was somewhat of a, a home field advantage for us, just with stores being, a couple hours away. But, man, it was awesome to watch, man. I was so proud of those kids and so proud of how they played. And it really wasn't close, man. We gave a damn kickoff
at the end of the game, and
kickoff. It wasn't a close game. We dominated on both sides of the football, man. So it was so fun to watch, and I was so proud of those kids, man, for sure.
Yeah, it was great to see the alumni that showed up. That we traveled pretty well. We had a couple events that went well, and just I feel changes in the air, and we're coming together as a family again. And now we have some momentum, and it's time to build on it. So that was the biggest thing. And, the quarterback situation all year was kind of in flux because they had a transfer quarterback.
Yep.
And he was getting hurt. He wasn't playing great. And Joe Fagiano came in and just did an outstanding job in the situations he was put in.
For sure.
He wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner or anything, but he made big plays. He stood in there. He threw the ball strong. We had great running backs, the three-headed monster.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we lost Darrell Robinson to the transfer portal. And then now we lost the defensive MVP from the bowl game, Price Yates is going to North Carolina from the transfer portal. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the landscape of college football has changed so much. It's just crazy to see, because now with the NIL money, and now this is the first year of television money. I mean, I remember when I played, and probably when around the time you played as well, we were just happy to get per diem.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I came from a family that, man, we didn't have a lot of money. So like when I asked for money, my parents would literally send me like $20 a week. And I'm like, man, I just, and nothing's worse when you drink up like the $20 that your parents sent you in Huskies or
nickel night
for the upper deck. And it's like, damn, I don't have to wait a whole nother week before I have any money in my pocket. I tell my daughter's a freshman at LSU, and I tell her all the time, like the money I put in her account, I'm like, dude, if you knew what I had to work with like for a semester, it would drive you nuts. And then here I am continually put money in your account.
Wow. So she wanted to go down south. She wanted to go to LSU. Or is she playing?
Well, the plan initially was to cheer for LSU.
Yes.
Steve, I pumped in. She's standing here in the kitchen making breakfast. She finally decided to get out of bed. But yeah, see, it was nice pumping tens of thousands of dollars of money into competition all those years and travel and everything else. But it's great, man. So that was the initial plan. I took her there in March. We did a camp, and came back, and she loved the school and everything was great. And then she broke the news that she wanted to be a regular student, which I was totally fine with, because
I would be.
I told her I did the college athlete thing, and it's a full-time job. And so
it really is, and it's worse now.
She finished her first semester. We're actually, as a matter of fact,
that's great.
I'm driving back with her first thing tomorrow morning. The 9-hour.
Oh, that's awesome.
Back. Yeah, so
that's awesome.
That's great. It's been a fun experience for sure.
And did you ever get down for any of the LSU football games?
I did not, because we were playing football.
Oh, that's right.
I actually shout out to my team. So Sequoia, I coach. I'm a defensive assistant coach for Sequoia Chiefs here in Canton, Georgia. So I coach the safeties. Doing it. I'm going on. We just finished my 4th year. It's been freaking awesome. So obviously we play on Friday nights, and so it's just right.
So there's no way.
Yeah. Kind of turn around and get back up to a Stores game. I did attend the Buffalo game for.
You went for the
Captain's Day, which is awesome.
Yeah,
I was a little bit nervous going up to Connecticut at that time of the year, man. But it was a beautiful, sunny, 60-degree day. I was actually sweating coming onto the field, so it was But again, watching these kids go out there and just ball out, man. We put a whooping on them, and that was the first time I had been to the Renton.
That's what I was going to say.
Gosh, I don't know how many years, man. It's just so hard, because I've coached my son and his teams coming up through youth football from the time he was about 5. So you can imagine every Saturday from the time he was 5, he's a sophomore now,
is occupied.
School, I was coaching.
So you yourself, you grew up in Jersey. Did you start playing at a young age? Did you play youth football growing up?
Yeah, so I have actually, and this is kind of gets back to the kind of the recruiting and all that other stuff. So I'm actually homegrown. I grew up in Danbury, Connecticut, so about 45 minutes south of Yukon, Stores, Connecticut.
I know Danbury.
45 to 50 minutes from New York City.
Yes,
and so I always tell people. So I grew up there, and so to answer your question, I started at 7 years old, man, as a chubby pulling guard for the.
You were a guard.
Yes. Yeah. So I started Husky. You're probably too young to remember this term, but Husky was an endearing term for a fat kid growing in my era. So I started Husky and ended my career as a Husky. So I was a chubby pulling guard for the Day-O Trojans.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
7 years old, man. But I'll tell you, starting as a lineman at a young age, I think it helped me as I grew into being more of a skill guy. I wasn't afraid of contact. Everything. Yeah, I wasn't afraid of contact.
Oh, that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was an undersized. I was undersized guard, but too chubby to carry the rock. So at that time, anyway.
Well, I remember too. I played at 9 years old, and I was chubby as well. And I thought I was the only 11-year-old on the planet that was on a diet so he could make weight for games.
So he could make weight. Yeah, that was when
make
you wear
way
the
for
black
game.
trash bags, right? You ready to do
Yes.
laps around the field before weigh-in. Yeah.
Yes. I had to run laps so I could make way for all the games. Now they don't have it anymore, and I'm just destroyed by it. They should.
They've got red
instill the-
stripes now. It's the red stripe.
It's the red
Yeah,
stripes.
they
You're
put the red
right.
stripe on the kid's helmet, so technically they're not like supposed to carry the ball and stuff like that.
Right. That's how they do it. That's how they do it. So you played on the line, and did you transition in junior high,
I did.
varsity? That's where you
transitioned in junior high, and about probably 8th or 9th grade. I was always a pretty athletic kid.
Yeah.
It was just on a little.
You
bit
just had to lose that baby fat.
Yeah, I used that baby fat, and so I actually grew into my frame, and I turned into a skill guy my 8th grade year, which was still considered junior high at that time. So I was a running back and a cornerback at that time. 9th grade year was a really kind of a standout year for me at that position until I fractured my foot. So I ended up sitting out probably the last 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So I played 3/4 of the season, and it sucked for me because I finally got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm a guy, I'm filling in, I'm starting to get into that high school level, only to get hurt. And had a great freshman year and then ended up getting hurt.
Was it considered freshman football or was it JV in Connecticut?
It was freshman football. It was
strictly freshman.
Junior high. So I played for Broadview Junior High School in Danbury, Connecticut. It was still considered freshman football at that point. And then, my high school years was 10th, 11th, and 12th. So I played JV my sophomore year. We had a pretty good sophomore year. I was extremely fortunate to play behind. We ran a wing tee, and it's funny because Sequoia, we still, just up until a couple of years ago, we were still running the wing tee, which is kind of funny. I used to joke with us. So James Teeter's our head coach at Sequoia, and it's still to this day. 4 years ago we came in and just had a whole new staff, offensive staff, and we still have a variation of the wing tee, but it's definitely not the same traditional wing tee that you and I probably grew up in. And
do they run it out of the gun some too, or no?
We will, but like I said, we've kind of moved into Coach Teeter would hate for me to say this, but we've kind of migrated
you've evolved
from the traditional spread offense, but we do it's a variation spread offense, but we definitely have a different type of offense that we run than anybody else in our area. So it's been fun.
That's
man.
Great.
I love it, man. I love working with the kids. I actually work for a guy by the name of Brent Buddy, who I believe is the best defensive coordinator, if not one of the best defensive coordinators in the state of Georgia.
Wow.
I'm not saying that just because, obviously I work for him, but man, he's, I'll watch a game on Sunday and it's like, I'll see certain schemes and certain coverages that the professional teams are running. I'm like, dang, that's Bucks, or that's swipe, or that's smash. And it's just crazy to see it. And his mind he's at a different level, man. So I've been fortunate enough to work alongside a defensive coordinator that really is elite. He's elite from a perspective. So, but going back, so I had a good 10th grade year.
Were you playing both ways too, or were you just
man? I was playing both ways, man. This whole one way stuff it's like a recent thing for these kids. I tell my son this all the time. I'm like, dude, I played both ways. I played every snap.
I know, special teams and everything.
He didn't come off the field. The only time he came off the field was for timeouts. And these kids have gotten, to a point where they've gotten so I don't want to use the term soft, but we played every snap. And so, going into high school, I played behind two guys, Timmy Smith and Johnny Rogers, were elite backs. And so at the time when I was a sophomore, Timmy was a senior. I think he ended up going to Delaware State, but he was a great running back. And then my junior year was kind of my year that I had an opportunity to sort of step up and stand out and start. And I played alongside a guy by the name of Johnny Rogers, who I just mentioned, which I still believe. And look, I play, we play 5A Georgia football.
That's the biggest,
5A and 6A. And 6A is the biggest. But there's some good schools, man. 6A. But I've seen a lot of talented running backs. Just not only, that we've just played against camps, 7-on-7s. And I'll tell you, Johnny was one of the best running backs I've ever seen, still to this day. And he just the way he moved, he's, just smooth, man. The stuff that he would talk about doing and how he moved and how graceful he was and how fast he was. And so my junior year, I was essentially, I blocked for Johnny. That was round 248, which was a version of basically a buck sweep. And so my job was to seal the defensive end. Yeah, I had to block down, a guy who was always bigger than me, stronger than me, but I had to figure out a way to block him and set that edge for Johnny to get around, and we did a good job with that. And I always kind of talked to me a little bit about legend. For me, I always categorize myself as kind of I still feel this way mentally as an underdog. Like I was an underdog. I felt like I was an underdog. I felt like I had to outwork everybody.
That's how all the best do.
Yeah, man. I tell the kids that I coach, and I tell this to my son. I mean, look, your mindset's got to be, I'm going to outwork this guy. I'm going to outwork everybody I go up against. I'm going to outwork you. I'm going to out-tough you. I'm going to out-physical you. And at the end of the day, by the time that game's over, they're not going to want anymore.
No, they've had enough.
They're like, damn, I got to line up against this guy again. And so for me, at 5'8", in high school, I was 175 pounds. And, my deal was I played with a chip on my shoulder. And so, like, I like the challenge. I love the challenge of going against somebody who's bigger than me because, like, in my mind, I'm thinking, like, I'm going to whoop this kid's ass. Yeah. I don't know how big of it. And he's gonna get tired of my little ass coming up
all over him
and smacking him every single play. He's going to get tired of my ass at some point.
Yes.
So that was my mindset. And then going into my senior year, it was kind of like, again, underdog mentality. He's like, I was the featured back, right? And, I was told, like, yeah, he's good, but, he'll never be Timmy Smith or he'll never be like Johnny Rodgers, right? And so, and they were good backs. And Johnny, I still to this day, I'll tell you, he was the best back I've ever seen. And I was not going to be Johnny Rodgers, but my goal was to be the best version of Kevin Bannister.
Of yourself, yes.
And so I went into that season like, man, I'm gonna, I'm gonna prove to people, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. And I ended up, I think, in an 11-game season, I had like 24 touchdowns, almost 1,500 yards. And
you're splitting carries with Johnny Rodgers.
Well, no, this was my senior year. He had graduated, but at the time I had a young guy by the name of Maurice Rodado who played as a freshman. So
wow,
he was another kid. He was a great running back, but he actually played a lot of football. So so I was the featured guy, but he got a lot of carries as well during my senior year. But so I kind of transitioning from having a pretty darn good senior year. Was getting recruited. A lot of teams at the time, Yankee Conference, so your UMasses, your Richmonds, your New Hampshire's, your all
Mary, UNA.
So all those schools. I did have a couple offers from bigger schools like Pitt. Kind of was looking at me at the time, but my deal was look, and surprisingly enough, how I found you, kind of how you kind of found me is because we were local. They would do camps.
Yeah, you're Shelton.
I went to a camp before my senior year. Just had a great summer camp with them.
Right.
So they were looking at me, recruiting me pretty hard throughout the course of the year. And look, I was 45 minutes away. My family's home.
You want them to be able to watch.
My parents never missed a game, and so I wanted to be in a place where they could still come to all my games. I was still close to Dan where I could go home and see my family and, my friends and all that good stuff.
Shoot home for a weekend. Yep.
But most importantly, I wanted to play, man. Like, some of these kids, and I had a kid that I coached who ended up going to Missouri last year. So big time football. Like this kid, I'll tell you, this kid was by the name of Jackson Hancock, and you'll see him on Saturdays. He redshirted this year, but you'll see him on Saturdays, and man, you may see him on Sundays someday. This kid's a phenomenal player, phenomenal athlete, and a kid that I was, super proud of. And that was a pleasure coaching that kid. But, I told him, I said, dude, you're getting all these. He had offers from every big time college football team in the country.
Yeah. And,
my advice to him was, you want to go to school. You got to think of a couple different things. One, academics first and foremost, because it all ends at some point, right? You got to get an education.
You got to get that degree.
Two, you want to be able to play. You want to get your ass on the field, right? And three, as we all know, look, college years are the best years of your life. You want to be able to have a great social experience, as well. So those things, they kind of tie in hand in hand. And so when you're thinking about schools, you got to consider all that. And if you want to play football, you got to, or any other sport for that matter. I mean, God, you do this because you want to play, right? So it does you no good to go to a school that, hey, I'm going to go. I go to this school. It sounds great, and you never play.
Right, where you sit for 4 years.
Yeah. So I wanted to go to school that one I could, one was close, one I enjoyed socially, and then obviously I wanted to be able to play, and so I accomplished all those three things. And obviously you're a UConn guy, man. Like UConn's a special school, man. UConn's a special school, and it's funny how us as football alumni, and I think we've gotten a lot better at this over the years. But man, we say bleed blue, like we bleed blue, man. Like I don't think there's a school out there that, man. I went to that captain's day, and I met some guys from like '74, and that that was the year I was born, man. And I'll tell you, man, the way that they embrace you, the way that our student body, our alumni, our team embraces you. I don't know that you get that in any other place. So you talk about bleed blue, man, and it's amazing how connected, even you and I, man. I don't know you, I never met you, but I feel so connected with you. Yeah. In the couple of minutes that we had before we jumped on this podcast, man, and it's just like that's the fabric of what we are and who we are as Huskies, man. And I'll tell you. I know we were talking about me and how we kind of gotten to this point. That's what I loved. And I Jamal Davis was my recruiting. Yes. But I think it was Jason Apple. We call him affectionately known as App. They showed me a good time, man. And so I'll tell you, by the time I left that recruiting visit, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to sign, man.
Well, because it was about the school. It was tougher back then with recruiting because that's when you had to send VHS tapes out to schools.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I tell these kids, I tell my guys all the time, these kids now, I'm like, dude,
so hard.
You got so much access between the your stuff that you put on the social media. The stuff that you have, coaches can see your videos and see your clips, right, from Huddle. You've got so much access. I said, I was sending out VHS tapes.
I was too.
Somebody watched them. And had to pay for the mail. Snail mail, and maybe you got something. You get a letter back a few weeks or a month later that they actually saw it, and that was it. And you do that all yourself. They'll of course said like, shit, your high school coaches wasn't doing that stuff.
No,
we've got a recruiting coordinator. I've got a recruiting coordinator at Sequoia that does all the stuff. He literally puts the kids' clips together, sends them out to all the colleges. But we have, one of the coaches, our offensive coordinator. He's our recruiting coordinator. So he does all that stuff for the kids.
Yeah, I was the same way. My dad bought a machine where you could put 2 tapes in your game film and a blank tape, and it would dub it really fast. Yeah. So we could dub like 20 game tapes and then send them out to everywhere. But that's how it was. That's how it was done. And the coaches would come see you. They would always stop by your school because a lot of times they didn't know. They didn't have the information that they have now about who are the top prospects in the area. So that's how it's changed. Did you take any other official visits anywhere besides UConn?
No, I didn't. I mean, I kind of knew where I wanted to go. I mean, it was nice, getting, having other folks look at you, man. But it was, I just knew UConn was the school for me. UConn was a school for me. At the time, I had two other guys that I played with that went up for UConn and played. Jason Lynch, who's a receiver and played linebacker. He was a year ahead of me, so he played with Johnny. Right. Or he was with Johnny Rod. He was Johnny Rogers' class. So they were, when I was a junior, they were seniors. But he went to UConn. Rob Clark, who was Timmy's year, who was a senior when I was a sophomore, he went to UConn and played corner. So I had some familiarity just from those guys, from the older guys who went before me. But I just loved the school, man. And I loved, I credit, Jamal and App for getting me to UConn. I'll tell you, because they showed me such a good time. Were so hospitable, took me under their wing, treated me like their own. But it was no different, man. When you went to the school, once I got on campus, it was no different. And so
nothing changed.
Belcourt mentioned a guy. So my freshman year, so I played for a guy. So ironically enough, so that little background. So Steve Spagnuolo actually recruited me.
Yes, he talked a lot about it.
And I tell people all the time, like, dude, I would have never, like, who would have known that he would have been? I think he's actually interviewing for another head coaching job. I heard come through the wire last night on ESPN. But yeah, he's been, a fixture. He'll be a Hall of Fame defensive coordinator. But he recruited me, and of course, once I got to the sign and found out that he was leaving, so he recruited me and actually, so I never actually played for Spags.
Yeah.
But Belcourt, I told you some, there's so many stories that you can tell. So my freshman year, a guy by the name of Greg Williams was my defensive coordinator.
Yes, I heard about him as well. Yes.
/ cornerback coach. And he was phenomenal mind, old school dude. Like, I mean, he came from North Carolina, just the old school, tough guy.
Tough.
And I was fortunate enough. And so Belcourt mentioned Mark Chapman.
Yes.
Mark, you got to get Chappie on the stick. You got it, man. He was phenomenal. Like, he was our guy. He was our free safety. Started free safety when I was a free freshman, but we had a phenomenal secondary. So we had Mark Chapman at free safety. Pete Kalen's another guy. You got to get him on.
I've had Pete on.
Pete Kalen, Scott Mitchell. Scott Mitchell played corner, and Rob Clark, who I mentioned earlier, played the other corner. Started the other corner, and also Gary Bailey played some safety as well. Started some games as well for us. But Scott Mitchell, and I think that's what, like, they were all, except for Pete, but they were all over 6'2". Like, we had a tall secondary.
Which is what they look for.
But those guys, Scott Mitchell was probably the fastest white guy I've ever seen. Like, built like a Greek guy. It was like 6'2.5", 6'3", 190 pounds. And back then, Coach Weir, and it's so funny because, like, they couldn't go over 190. Like, they would have to, like, if you had to run, if you were over 190, you were running. And so Scott and so Mitch and Clark and Chappie, they always had to fight to stay under 190. And if you can imagine, like, these guys were almost 6'3". Like,
they're
all were fast as heck. And we were, man, I had the pleasure of just playing behind some of these guys that were great leaders. Like, Chappie he was our leader, man. He was a great leader, great player, tough as nails. They embraced me, man. Coming in as a freshman, I didn't play the freshman. I redshirted my freshman year, but those guys, we learned, like, and I'll tell you, speak to a couple other guys ahead of me as we go forward. But man, we had the pleasure of playing behind some really great guys and some great players and some great leaders, guys who took us under their wing and really embraced us as freshmen to try to kind of lead us and lead us down the right path, keep us out of trouble, because you know how it is, man. As a freshman, when the world's opened up to you, especially when you're redshirted, because hey, you're on your own. You might as well party,
Yeah.
So there was many times that they had to kind of put their arm around me and say, "It's time to go home."
You've had enough for tonight.
Enough for tonight. Go, let me tuck you in, and you'll live another day. But those guys that I mentioned, man, they were some great players, and we had some great leaders. And it's funny because I mentioned Greg Williams, who was phenomenal mind and a really great coach, but he was tough, man. And so he was about 5'8", 300 and some odd pounds of just round bound. We used to call him the fat man. He was affectionately known as the fat man. He wore these dark glasses, man. And he was one of those guys. He was tough, man. He was so tough. And so I think Mitch gave him the nickname, the Slave Master, because that's how it felt when he would come on the field. And I'll never forget, man. And this is till this day, obviously I learned a lot playing for Coach Williams, but what he taught us the most, and which helped us as a secondary, is he taught us how to be tough, man. Like, if you could get through agilities, you were good. But like, there are some days where, listen, he would, and our agility drill was literally, you'd have like you had the starting four, the next four, just in line. And that was your group, right? And so he would he'd bring you, start right on the line in front of me on the sideline. That's where you'd start. You guys would, 5 yards off, and he'd, literally take the ball. You'd go back, shuffle to the side.
Oh, you do that drill, yes.
Back, shuffle to the left, and he'd bring you all the way up, and then you had to turn and run, and then he would throw the football.
Yes.
And that wasn't hard enough. So what would happen is you literally, and you had to high point it. So the first guy would catch it, high point it up, and throw it up in the air. Next guy have to come in, catch it at its highest point, throw it up in the air. Next guy would come in, third guy, high point it, catch it, throw it up in the air. And the fourth guy had to catch the ball, secure it high point, and you all had to sprint back past the line, past the fat man.
Oh my God. That is a long drill.
Actually get to the, the slave master, because he had the black glasses. Now, the white guy brought this up. There's only, at the time, it was just Chappie and Mitch. Everybody else is pretty much black. But we call him because he'd have his dark glasses, and he'd just wear them the whole practice. And he would just, dude, he would have a day where, like, he would come onto the field, and we knew the fat man was not in a good mood. So
he was in a bad mood.
Man was not in a good mood. You were going to get punished.
That day,
get punished. And so he would literally, and this kid, as fat as he, the fat man, he had a cannon. Like he could throw the ball.
He could throw it.
So he would literally bring you all the way up, and he knew you weren't getting there. And so, I mean, I'm talking about, Steve, there were times when guys would get like 8 reps. Like and if you didn't do it, like you didn't either catch the ball, secure it, one of the 3 or one of the 4, and run sprint past the line. And think about it, we were
run it again.
Again. All right, back up. But what he taught you was, one, how to get mentally tough, because it was adversity, right? Like he knew you weren't going to catch that ball, but you had to get mentally tough enough.
He wanted
to come back to the line and do it again. Second part of that was, and this is what I think I really appreciated, because it was still a team drill. Like you had to, like all 4 guys had to do their part, right?
Yeah.
And so, and there was times that you wanted to get on your teammate for dropping the ball on the 4th rep or whatever, or not sprinting past the line. But you had to you had to stick together with your teammate,
or else you'd all fail.
Or you're going to fail. So he taught us toughness. He taught us how to be good teammates, how to stick together. And so we built, man, Chappie's group was seniors, and then you had the junior class, and then you had, so all the way down the line, like we were tight, man. We were so tight. And
because you all went through that together.
We went through hell with him. The fat man put us through hell. And like I said, man, there was some days where, you knew he was in a bad mood. You had nothing to do with it, but you were going to pay for him being in a bad mood. Yes. So, but I'll tell you, dude, Greg Williams, man, he was a great, like he could literally tell you, we'd have practice, and he'd say, hey, look, that ball's going to be thrown right there, some bitch, right there. And I'm talking about like by the yards. And Dan, I'll tell you, we'd get in the game, and where he said that ball's going to be thrown on that route,
it was right there.
It was right there. Like, I'm telling you, this dude, he knew his stuff. He was good. He was tough. And, we used to call ourselves the hit squad. We were the hit squad all through.
Yeah, you were physical. Yeah.
We were like, and that was back when you could be physical. Like, so you running the ball, and you
not
were
like now.
the ball across the middle, your ass was getting punished.
You were going to feel it.
And you weren't going to, look, our job was, hey, look, I don't care if you catch it or not, you're going to get punished. And so the next time you come across that middle, you're going to think twice about it.
You're going to think twice.
You're going to think twice about trying to. You can't do that now, obviously, but keep your head on a swivel and defenseless. That was not a thing back then.
No,
it wasn't a thing of defenseless receiver. I'm playing. Look, this was time when it was even. Like I'm 5'8", 180 pounds, and I'm playing a hard cover 2 corner, and I see that 240, 250 pound tight end or fullback, H-back coming in the flat. I would freaking light his ass up and tell him about it, right? And so, but you can't, he's looking for the ball back at the quarterback. He ain't see my little ass coming in, just barreling into that, right up in those ribs or that head area, which you can't do, by the way. And I don't condone that anymore. Now I got a kid, it's like, we don't want to hit up in the head and neck.
Well, they barely practice in pads now. I mean, they practice 1 day a week in like pads.
Yeah,
it's just crazy how much it's changed like that.
It's tough, man. It's tough. Like even now as coaching at the high school level,
the targeting, you don't know.
Like, kids can't tackle. I mean, and it's like, well, why can't they tackle?
You can't, because you can't work on it.
Because you can't work on it. And it's like,
you
how
can't
do you simulate tackling in practice?
Yeah.
And so, my DBs, man, we go live on Mondays, and they look at me like, I'm like, hey, we're about to go live. And like, Coach B, they look at Coach B like, what do you mean go live? I'm like, damn, you're actually gonna have to tackle on Friday night.
Yeah,
you have to tackle on Friday night. So what I do is what I've learned how to do it is, I'll just get the cones like 3 yards apart. So there's there's not a lot of distance to have the contact, so they're still able to simulate or kind of have a live tackle, but not worry about getting them hurt, right? Getting guys hurt.
Yeah.
But man, you remember, man. We do Oklahomas and shit. We have 3 practices a day, and every maybe the second practice that practice at lunch, maybe that was helmets and shoulder pads, and maybe you didn't tackle live, but you're still thudding. You're in team, you're still thud, and then you came back that afternoon and you're back at it, live tackling. Oklahoma, you're going to the ground, you're talking smack, you're trying to, you're trying to take guys' heads off. But yeah, I mean, Greg Williams, man, so my first 2 years, freshman year, I redshirted. My sophomore year, I think that was the year Skip Holtz came in. Sophomore year? Yes. Sophomore year. I think he came in. That was his first job. First head coach. It was.
Yes.
He literally came on campus, walked on campus, was 29. I think he turned 30 during that season. So I played for Greg Williams the first 2 years. Didn't play a whole lot, played some special teams. My junior year, and again, I had the pleasure of playing for some phenomenal defensive coordinators and corners coaches or DB coaches at the time. Nick Rapone came in. So Nick Rapone, who's still in the NFL coaching, by the way.
Tampa, yeah.
Another phenomenal coach. And it's funny because I had the pleasure of playing for 2 phenomenal defensive coordinators and defensive backs coaches in my years at UConn, but they were 100% night and day different in their philosophy.
They were completely different. Yeah.
Which is a guy who would address you quietly, who was tough, but he was the first guy to love on you when you made a play. He would love on you. And Phil will tell you, because Phil played for him for the whole time. I believe the whole time he was there. He would love on you. He would love on you. But man, it was like playing for your dad. He treated you like he was your dad. He would be tough on you when you screwed up. He was tough on you, but he was the first guy to have your back and the first guy to love on you when you made a play, did a great job. He had your back. He would walk through. I still to this day, Coach Rapone would walk through a wall for his players. He would rip your ass. Yeah. He would rip your ass, but he will hug you and love on you to death. And treat
Absolutely.
you. I could call Coach Rapone up today. And I know he'd have my back, and anything that he could do for you, he had your back. And so, kind of my story was, it took me a while to sort of get into a groove and get an opportunity to play. Finally started my junior year. I was started out as a nickel corner, and we played a lot of nickel back then. That was kind of his philosophy. So passing situations, third down, we played a lot of nickel. Kind of in the same vein of talking about some of the players ahead of me. I played with, guys like Monte Nowden, Lamont Parker, those guys, Lamont Parker was, I think he was the first guy, I saw on campus that ran a 4.3, legit 4.3, could cover anybody, fastest, and great guy. Mike Holland, we used to call him the Brooklyn Brawler, the Boston Brawler. He was a mass guy. But he was another, I'm talking about a white guy. He ran like a deer, tough as nails, great athlete. Mike Sting was literally we can tell them. There's so many Mike Holland stories that we can tell about him, his fights and stuff on campus. But Mike was a tough SOB. He's one of those guys you not only wanted with you on the field, right? You want him in the bar with you, in the street with you, because he would be a guy that's the grimiest dude. He was going to whoop your ass behind the upper deck, and then the next day he would whoop your ass in the football field. He was that his mindset. That's how his mind operated. Kendall Madison was another guy. Rest his soul. Kendall passed my senior year. Who am I missing? Jamal Davis. Another guy. If you haven't had him on, you got to get that guy on there.
I'm going to have him on for sure. Yes.
Jeff Coles plays strong safety. Jeff Coles and Larry Austin. Those guys Larry transferred from North Carolina State. Jeff transferred in from Temple. Great players. Those guys were a year. Larry was my year. Jeff was a year older. Great players for us. But the hit squad, crash crew, we came out there, we were going to punish you, man. Our whole idea was, hey, yeah, we could cover you. Yeah, we could cover guys in space. Guys can cover. But our deal was, man, you played us. You're going to know you played in the game. If you're a receiver, I'm telling you, like, if you caught the ball, you were getting punished. And that was our whole mindset. And so it started with Coach Williams, that mindset of just being tough and physical, tough physical secondary. And then, Coach Rapone, it didn't change. Like, it was a different defensive philosophy, different coverage that we ran, coverages that we ran, but the philosophy was the same. The mindset was the same.
Yeah.
Our secondary was tough and we were physical, and God bless you. Hey, you know what? Hey, you're going to catch the ball. That's great, but we're not going to make it. You're not going to make it 4 quarters.
Yeah. Yeah,
if you
exactly.
catch the ball, you're getting punished. And that was our mindset, and that was our philosophy. And, we weren't the biggest, we weren't the strongest, we weren't the fastest, but God damn it,
you played the hardest.
We were going to be physical.
Yeah.
And so, I just had the pleasure of playing with some great players, and hopefully I'm not missing anybody. Phil was younger than me. Phil and Kevin Foster, right. Those guys were all younger than me.
They just come in.
I think the philosophy that, and this gets back to the lead in, the excitement for UConn football today, right?
Exactly.
What I'm most excited about is where we're heading, where we're going. But what I saw in the bowl game, right, was the same thing that we grew up on, what we were coming through the ranks of UConn football back from the 90s all the way leading up to today, is that tough, gritty, physical brand of football, right?
Right, exactly.
And those things and so what I'm most proud about from my era leading into this day is to be able to feel really good about building that sort of foundation, helping to build that foundation and that pillar and that philosophy and that brand of football to the kids today, and seeing them translate everything that we used to be. And we weren't as talented. Belcourt told you, like, we weren't as talented as these kids. We weren't fast, we weren't as strong, we weren't as big as these kids are today. But the physicality, the toughness, the mindset of, I'm going to whoop your ass. Like, it's individual. It's 11 players on each side of the ball, but it's individually. It's me against you. And our mindset was, I'm going to whoop your ass. Like, I'm going to whoop your ass every snap. And so, and look, we were back when I played, we were mid 500 to a little bit above 500 football team. Now, I can tell you those games, we had so many games that were within 3 to 7 points, especially my junior and senior year, that my sophomore, junior, and senior year, really, that could have gone either way. We just couldn't figure out a way to close games. But I will tell you, defensively, we were solid, man. We were always solid. And in Belcourt, I will tell you, he was very humble, because he's a humble man. But that dude was an animal. Like, I'm telling you, that dude was a freaking animal. And that Holst, like him, Kaz, that Harkins, you got to get Doug. That dude will kill you. Like, literally, I think he ended up being, I ran into him in Captain's Day. He was a police officer, turned into being a police officer. But Doug Harkins, that inside linebacker, he would freaking maul you. And so, to see those kids play now with the same grit, and same tenacity and same toughness. God, I was so proud. I mean, look, I was so damn proud of them watching that game. When that game was over, man, I texted my coaching, my other fellow coaching staff at Sequoia, and I was like, man, how about them Huskies, boy? Bleed blue. Because that's what they did. And I was so damn proud of those kids, man, and just the way they played. And like, it reminded me of us. It reminded me a lot of us at just a bigger, faster, strong bunch of kids that play with the same grit.
I mean, you had an incredible career. You were a captain, and you got a great education. What was life like after?
So surprisingly enough, and I know we're all close to Bev Sims, and gosh, I love that lady.
Love Bev. I love her
mom.
too.
She was a second mom to all of us, and I love her so dearly. I will, like, dude, look, we always say when Bev goes to a game and have all of us around, it's like, she's like the president. with the Secret Service. You better not lay a hand on Miss Sims, or you will
you'll
get punished. But
Yes.
Bev Sims, man, I love that lady. I will take, she, there's so much that, we talk about the brotherhood and the foundation and the family unit, the family atmosphere environment at UConn. She's a mom to hundreds of football players.
Oh, I know.
She treated us like her own, and obviously she was our academic advisor, and I love her to death. And let me tell you something, man. Football, have an opportunity to play. Obviously, have a free education, right? I got a free education, bachelor's in economics. But Bev, I credit Bev 30 years later to every professional level of success that I've had, because I'll never forget. I'm going into the summer before my last semester. I was at 4.5. I graduated in December. But Bev was like, "Hey, what do you want to do after college?" I'm like, "Well, I want to play the NFL." What else would I want to do after college, right?
Of course.
Not knowing, how hard it is to get, especially I consider myself an above average player, but she was 5'8", 180. And that's what I played at. And I played strong safety I played strong safety my junior year. Didn't play corner. Played corner like midway through because Jeff ended up getting hurt like about halfway through the season. He broke his wrist. And so I had to play some strong safety, which, as 5'8", 180 pound strong safety. And that I was banging it up, mixing it up with 6'4", 6'5", tight end, 250 tight ends, and
coming down the middle. Yeah.
And had to hold my own and had to get in there and get grimy and whatnot. But, so to think you're going to play in the NFL 5'8", and I ran 4'4". But I was 5'8", 180. And even now, now it's like you'd have no chance.
No, they want taller. Yeah.
But Bev was like, "Hey, what do you want to do after college?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Bev, I don't know what I want to do." I said I'd like to do some sort of summer internship program this summer that would get me my 3 credits or whatever, and pay a little bit. I get a little pay,
of course.
So she had suggested that she got me into a summer insurance internship program with Aetna U.S. Healthcare. So
and
insurance,
that's how it started. Wow.
I think Hartford's the insurance capital of the world, but so I worked for Aetna for that summer, went through obviously that season, still trying to make it to the NFL. Nobody was knocking at the door. Had a tryout, nothing materialized. I said, "Hey, you know what? I got a degree from a great school. I got an economics degree from a great school. I should be able to get a job, right?"
Yeah.
So probably about a month after, I graduated. I didn't walk until April, but a month after I graduated in December, I get a call from the lady who I interned with, and kind of like, they had internship. You're kind of like, you had like, within the company was someone that kind of was like I don't know what you want to call it, like, kind of oversee, got you in, helped you out.
Yeah.
I worked in underwriting, just was kind of like a gopher, didn't really do a whole lot, helped out with proposals and anything that needed to be done. That's what I did. Right. But it was an opportunity to get my foot in the door with Aetna, a large insurer. At the time, it was one of the largest insurance carriers in the world. And they called me up and they offered me a job. I was like, shit, yeah, I don't have anything else I'm doing. So why not? Right. So I credit Bev to this day because I've been in insurance since then. So I worked for Aetna for 4 years. I ended up moving down to Philly, worked for Cigna for a year, and then ended up getting recruited by MetLife. And that's how I found my way down to Atlanta. So MetLife hired me in 2000. And I was working in underwriting. I was an underwriting consultant at the time. And have been out here ever since. I worked for Hartford in some management for a while. And then I came back to MetLife in 2007. And that's how I got my way into sales. And so I was with MetLife a total of probably close to 18 years. And I've been at United Healthcare now for the last 5. I'm a vice president. Wow. Yeah, vice president of specialty market sales for United Healthcare. And I cover 7 states in the Southeast and Atlanta. So I love Bev to death. To this day, now I'm like, what she did and help. Look, she got me through college. She got us all through college.
She did.
Let's be honest. Like, her as an advisor, I love Bev. You say I love Bev Sims to death. Bev Sims changed my life.
Yes.
Academic standpoint, and really got me into where I am today. Like, so she's probably somewhere sitting. She sees that she may, and she's,
I saw her at a game, dude. She looks like she's 60. It was amazing.
It's amazing. She's in her 80s,
Yeah.
And so,
she
man, I
remembers
credit her
everyone.
to this day for not only getting me through college, man, but helping me professionally as well. And look, we talk about what UConn is. Like, that's what UConn is, man. To think of story like I just want to share, like, she saved my life, helped me get through it. Today, I've been in the insurance business for over 30 years, and I've done extremely well in the insurance business for, So this lady, this woman, she loved all of us like her own sons, and she saved my life. And I credit her to this day for the level of success I've had in this profession, because she got me into the insurance.
That's so awesome to hear. And I'll make sure to put that.
And then outside of that, I've got my kids. I talked a little about Taryn. She's kept me busy for years. I got a son, Braylon. He's a sophomore.
Does he love football?
He loves it. He loves it, man. Awesome. I try to get them all to have a passion like we all did. But it's hard.
You need
now, I've got, I coach.
There's a lot of competition.
Oh, for sure. And, and I coached, like I said, I've coached at Sequoia High School. Shout out to the Chiefs, Canton, Georgia. We made it to the Elite Eight this year in the playoffs, which, unfortunately ran into a great team in Coffee, Georgia. And they had a running back who, I tell you, we'll see him on Sundays at some point. He was, again, one of the greatest bats that I've seen in high school football.
Wow.
But I coached one of the assistant coaches, James Teeter is the head coach. I mentioned Brent Buddy. So, it's kind of funny. So college, Greg Williams, unbelievable coordinator. Nick Rapone, unbelievable coordinator.
Yes.
Now, last 4 years, I had the pleasure for working for an unbelievable defensive coordinator in Brent Buddy, who I talked about. Look, this dude, I'm telling you, he's one of the best. He'd hate for me probably to say this on live like that, but he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the entire state of Georgia. I promise you.
I believe it.
He's elite. His level of, dude, this guy, we joke about him on staff, in our defense staff, because we're kind of light. He keeps us he challenges us. He expects a lot of us. But we have a lot of fun. Like, he just took us out and had beers and stuff for the end of the year. We do this every year. He takes us out for lunch, has, get beers and feeds us and all that good stuff. And we joke a lot. And one of the things that we always joke about Coach Buddy is, like, he'll tell a story, and it's so it'll be like 2008, and he's like telling the story of a play where we either didn't get to the flat, or we blew a coverage, or missed a tackle on a blitz, and it's so detailed. I'm telling you, it's so detailed.
That's his memory. Yeah.
I tell, and he'll remember stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, part of what helps me, and this is him talking, what helps, like, he remembers times when he got beat. And so as he goes through and he schemes and he tells us, and he gets on us about certain things and how to get the kids to be in a certain spot and be in a certain position, because he remembers the play he got beat on. But it's
learn from it. Yeah.
It's so succinct, and it's so visual, and so we always joke about it, because I tell my coach, I'm like, dude, I don't know how you remember this shit. I'm like, and I'm 95% sure.
Remember what I had for breakfast.
I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but he remembers shit from like 2007, 2006. But this guy, man, I'll tell you, he's a great coach. And so I've had the pleasure of working for him and learning for a really, really great high school defensive coordinator. I believe he could go to any college team he wanted to and succeed as well, because his intellect, his level of understanding of the game, is
on another level.
He's a student of the game. Like, he's always reading, always sending clips, always trying to learn and get better. But Brent Buddy, if you haven't heard that name, you need to get to know it, because he's an elite coordinator in this state, man. And it's been a pleasure working for him. So I've had the pleasure of working for three guys, three coordinators that have helped me grow as a player, helped me grow as a coach, but are elite in their own ways.
I have to mention our other sponsor, Dynamic Human Performance, owned and run by UConn running back legend Andre Dixon. Andre Dixon and his team will take you, boys or girls, whatever sport you play. He has a 5,000 square foot state-of-the-art training facility. They get things done. He will help you reach your potential no matter what sport you play. He has many kids that are playing at Division I schools on scholarships. They have many different programs that they offer. You can go for 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever. Go to Andre and he will get you to where you need to be. He will help you reach your potential. And then finally, we have Julius Trenches Williams, who is in Decatur, Georgia. He runs the Trench Mob, works with offensive and defensive linemen to help them as well. His first camp is in February in Miami. You can go to thetrenchmob.com and sign up. He will help you become the best pass rusher you can be. He will teach you as an offensive lineman. They have a unique scoring system throughout drills that awards winners. You get points for every drill, and at the end, a winner gets a trophy or some type of award, which I think is pretty cool. And he runs camps from now until August. And I love that he focuses on offensive and defensive linemen. And the last one we have, Pete Finch in the Finch Law Firm. Pete Finch played at UConn with us. If you've suffered any type of personal injury, if you've had a slip and fall, if a beam fell on you at a construction site, if your mother-in-law tried to run you over with her car, or you have been in any type of accident, Pete Finch is for you. He's based out of Bridgeport. He's gone to war throughout the state of Connecticut and will get every dime in compensation for you, whatever you deserve. www.thefinchfirm.com. Go to his website. He has many services. And if you're ever in a pinch, call Finch. So I have to thank the man himself, the legend, Kevin Bannister. Wow, what a story. What a career. That's absolutely amazing. The guys you played with, the guys you coached with definitely resonated and made a difference in your life. Bev Sims, she watches every show. She'll be thrilled to hear you talk about her, and I'll make sure to put her in the,
I love you, Bev.
I'll put her in the show notes. She'll be so happy to hear that. Bev came up to me. I went to one of the games this year, and Bev came up to me and gave me $100. I'm like, Bev, what are you doing? She's like, oh, this is for your show. Your show's great. I'm like, Bev, I'm not going to take your money. She says, yes, you are. I'm like, okay, Miss Sims, I'm going to take your money.
She doesn't even realize that she's already paid you. Like, she paid you.
I know.
She paid all of us.
She paid put us all on track.
She probably will never.
She'll never understand the impact we had.
Oh my God. Like, so my recruiting trip, right? So when she got all the freshmen, I'm hopefully not running out of time here, but her favorite saying, you probably heard it. She used to always say, if you teach a man to fish, if you take him to fish, he can eat for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime.
Yes.
I don't know how, but that was her saying.
And she was right.
That's what it was. Like, she doesn't realize, like, a lot of us, we've got a lot of, you mentioned this when you were talking about, but there's a lot of us that have been successful in life outside.
I was shocked at it. Yes. I didn't know our alumni are very successful.
Oh my God. You don't realize how much she does. She'll probably never. And let me tell you, it's like, this is why I'm not a believer. I don't know how you could not believe in God, because we're all of us are put here for a purpose, to serve. We are. Right?
Yes.
God put us all for a purpose, right? I promise you, she's a prime example of God's work, because that's what
she did.
He has served hundreds of us and helped hundreds of us not only get an college education and a degree, because let's be honest, like, we talk about what's important, right? When you picking a school, we got to get a degree. That's what's the most important. Not only just getting a degree, but in my situation, not only getting a degree, but she helped me
your career
in my career, like my career. If she hadn't said, hey, suggested that internship program, who knows
what you would be doing
way here. Yeah. And so, professionally, obviously, for me as a father, it's helped my kids. I've been able to provide for my kids, and I'll never fully be able to thank her. For what
you will. She'll watch
life,
and she'll comment. She'll appreciate the love. She loves every one of us, and she was happy to do it. And she'd go to war with us for the head coach.
If she could step it up, she would.
She'd always stick up for us. She didn't care. She didn't care. So
I appreciate it. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. I can't speak highly enough of UConn, man.
Well, we're
same sentiments. Yeah,
we're definitely we're gonna try to put together some more alumni events.
Yeah, please do.
We talked with Coach Schumann, and I talked with Kevin Freeman about working with the C Club and doing some different events around the country to try to bring us all together, because we need to increase that alumni engagement. Yeah, because that's why everyone loves this show, because they get to see alumni that they haven't heard from a while to see how they're doing.
Well, and we love each other. And I'm like, we talked about and I hopefully Shoe Dog watches it, because I'm busting his.
He will. Oh, he watches everyone.
So Shoe Dog, this is your background that you had.
I'm going to let him know that.
I figured I'd bust his chops back by putting this in the back on his virtual.
My next show's with him, so that's why.
Well, and let me tell you, Shoe Dog, don't let him. Like, Shoe Dog was a damn good player too, man.
Oh, I know he was. I know he was.
And man, let me tell you, one day I'm gonna have a beer with you. We're gonna talk, and I'm gonna we'll just share some Shoe Dog stories.
Yeah.
Don't let him fool you. He comes out and looking like he's all professional. Shoe Dog. There's that funny Shoe Dog story. So I live with Shoe. So Shoe and I are, we're still super tight, really good friends.
Yeah.
But obviously he was my year. We played together, so we're brothers. But the Shoe Dog. So Shoe Dog's always known for being kind of, a little sketchy with his, not his hygiene, but like the stuff that he'll do, it's just grimy. Like,
you never know.
Yeah, he's the guy who'll go to a McDonald's in some rural area and not put toilet paper on the seat and take a shit. Like, that's how grimy the Shoe Dog was. That's kind of how he got his name. But quick story for you. So we lived together. The summer before our last semester, we lived together. And oh God, what was the apartment? It wasn't Carriage House, but it was
Celeron.
And so we're living together whole summer, right? And so the Shoe Dog didn't come. He's a Jersey kid, right? And he's
a Jersey guy.
When I say he's a Jersey kid,
definition he's a Jersey kid. Guy. All the way.
Jersey kid. He's a Jersey kid. so Shoe Dog was just the grimiest kid, one of the grimiest guys that you ever want to meet. But like, let me tell you, Shoe Dog's a genius. Like, people don't realize, like, the Shoe Dog.
Oh yeah, he could have gone to Princeton. He was brilliant.
Like, he's a brilliant mind, but he's a grimy dude. Like, he's grimy.
He is.
Grimy. So the story behind Shoe Dog is, so we're living. I got a bed. I brought a bed in because it's an apartment, so you have to have your own furniture and stuff like that.
Yes.
So the Shoe Dog didn't have a bed, right? So he didn't have a bed. So all he did is sleep on a mattress the whole summer, right? So I saw him get the mattress, right? Asked me, say, KB, where did he get the mattress from?
He probably took it from a dumpster or something.
He took it from a dumpster.
Yeah,
literally. Like, he's like,
this looks nice. Just play.
Throw this mattress out. It was at the dumpster. I just took it out.
Just spray some Lysol on it. It'll be perfect.
And he slept on that dirty, filthy mattress that he got from literally somebody threw it away in the dumpster. And shoot, please, hopefully he doesn't take too. Hopefully he laughs at the story, but it's the true story.
He will.
And Pete Conley, who's our other roommate, God bless his soul. Pete passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah,
took this dirty mattress from a dumpster. They threw away. Here's the kicker: he didn't even have a fitted. He didn't have a fitted sheet over it
to go around it.
Half the time, he didn't have a fitted sheet. And I'm taking a step further. And God bless, he gonna hopefully his he's got a lady, and hopefully I know he's probably gonna kill me for sharing this story, but literally he would have female friends over.
No, he's spoken about it many times.
Okay, cool.
Female friends,
and half the time the sheet wasn't even covered that filthy mattress, and I'd wake up and I'd see him in there with the girl, and I would think to myself, and I'd wait. I wouldn't say anything, and in my mind I'm thinking like, dirty dog. if she had any idea where the hell you got this filthy
mattress from.
And I tell him, I say, Shoo. She'd leave. I say, Shoo, are you, what is wrong with you, dude? Like, at least you have the common decency to have a
get the fitted sheet.
Maybe let the comforter first and have something else over time. But like, dude, like, there's stories, and Belk shared some stories. Like, man, I have some my brothers, man, between the Shoe Dog, Sweets, Brian Arnold's another guy. He was a captain with me. So Brian was Sweets was so Sweets. I gave him the name Sweets because he would always eat a lot of junk food. So we always
of course.
Now there's Sweets, and then when he could get junk, there's Evil Sweets, who's his evil twin that would
yes.
Brian Arnold's a guy you need to get out here. Anthony McKinney, and I'll get you connected. Anthony McKinney played in the league for a little bit.
Yeah, I'd love to have him. Yeah.
There. Gerard Joseph. I'm super tight with both of those guys, all three of those guys. I will make it a point to get y'all connected. But you got to get stories not told without those guys as well. But man, we've got Lamont Parker, Jamal. I mean, some of those guys, man, you got to get them on. But man, we've got so many stories of our brothers. I know you share them in your era too, man. We've got so many stories with our brothers. We're so connected. We're so tight, even to this day, man. So
that's great to hear.
I love you, man. Like, we all love each other as brothers, teammates. Even the ones that didn't necessarily play with each other, we're still brothers, man. We're still connected.
Of course.
So, but I love you, man. I appreciate you having me on. I really do. And man, I can't wait till we get us to the alumni event, man. You just let me know. Share a beer, and we'll tell some more Shoe Dog stories. We'll tell a bunch of stories. Shit, I know they got little pun stories too, with me. So we had a great time. It was a great 4 years, man. I'm so proud of these kids coming up. I'm so proud of what they did in the bowl game against Carolina. I'm so excited for what the future holds for UConn football. And anything I can do as an alumni to support and I think that's what we got to do. And so I mentioned earlier, like, you thought I was from Jersey. So here's what we need to fix. We need to get our in-state Connecticut talent to stay in state. And I don't know.
Yeah, we always lose our in-state kids.
I don't know what the answer is, but in my class, there was just a few of us that were on scholarship that were actually from the state of Connecticut.
But they got to keep them. They got to keep them. I completely agree with you. It's 5, 6, 8 guys that go D1. You got to take care of your own state, and I think that 100% that is what they have to do.
The best players in Georgia go to Georgia.
Exactly. I mean, you always
they want to
go
to Georgia. Some aren't good enough to go to Georgia, but they want to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Figure out a way to, you've got to be able to recruit in-state talent.
Exactly. You got to take care of your home state. So, well, that's what we're working with Kevin Freeman in the C Club. We're trying to get more membership there. We're trying to build more alumni engagement and hold more alumni events so guys can see each other, because that's kind of the missing piece right now. Mike Burton's done a great job with Bleeding Blue and Store Central, but that is what we met with them. We're hopefully going to work with them because we provide the best content for UConn, whether it's football, basketball, alumni. We want that. We want them to use our platform to help them get members for the C Club and donations.
Shit, we got to do as alumni. Look, I haven't done it. I feel like I haven't done enough. I've been.
No, well, they don't call. They don't. That's the thing.
And shame on me for not figuring out a way to get more engaged. But look, some of us who, I've been successful, inside in life and in my profession, and it's I got to figure out a way to give more back. Because here's the other part. These big schools, they've got boosters, man. All this NIL,
they're killing us. I know.
NIL money's coming from.
No, I know. That's why
we as alumni, we as former players, especially we as former players, we as hell, it ain't just athletes. We've got alumni because UConn's a prestigious school, academically.
Yes.
We've got some successful alumni, and there's no reason why. And it shouldn't be just basketball. There's no reason
it shouldn't be. And that's what we're gonna do. We're meeting with Kevin Freeman, and we're gonna put together a fundraiser initiative to make it a priority, so we don't lose players in the transfer portal, so we can bring kids in from the transfer portal. That's been the biggest thing that we've had to deal with. So we're definitely gonna make it it's a mandate from the president that we do that, and we're working on that now with them, with the shows we do, with the content, how to get people to join the C Club, and how to bring in donations. So we're trying to bring it all under one conglomerate. So there's not 3 different NILs that you can donate to. There's only going to be one, and then you can donate to whatever sport you want to. So
Nice.
we're working on it. But I have to say, this was a great episode. I can't wait to put this up. And I can't wait to tell Coach Schumann that he needs to get some sheets for his bed. That's going to be
great. Well, listen, I probably just opened the door for him to tell.
Nah, he's told a million stories.
Some little pun / KB stories, but
he's proud of himself. Don't worry.
Yeah, he is proud of himself. But yeah, he's a funny Shoe Dog, man. So Shoe Dog and I literally have been on. I think we went on like at least 3 or 4 spring break vacations together.
Oh, yes.
So we've got, brother, and so I can tell we've got dirt on each other. Like
beautiful.
We've got so much dirt on each other, our whole crew. But man, we were so tight, and we're still so tight today, man. Like we're so
beautiful.
I know it's the same way with your group, man. I know y'all are tight too.
We'll bring you on the show we do together. We do Husky Huddle, where we cover the football team. We do it on Mondays usually. So I'll tell you when we do Husky Huddle, and you can come on and you can talk with us. We talk about the team and recruiting and where they're going in the future. So we'll definitely have you on again.
Well, man, I know this kind of ran over a little, but you gotta understand, I'm a sales guy, so I talk for a little.
No, it was good, dude. It's perfect. If it wasn't good content, I wouldn't have let it run over. It's perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
It was hilarious.
I appreciate, man. I love you, brother. I appreciate you.
Yes.
Appreciate this forum, first of all. Like I started watching some of this. I think it's freaking awesome. What you're doing is awesome. What you're doing to lift up and promote our program, which we all love, I think is awesome. Man, it's coming at the Belcourt said it best. We've got a lot of momentum. It's coming.
We got it now. We got to take advantage of it. Yeah.
And I see these kids, man. I'm so proud of everything that they've accomplished and done, not only this year, but just even the kids, Phil Hunt and that group all the way through, man. I think the legacy of UConn football was built even before my time, but I think it's still, the tradition is still the same.
No, it's passed down from generation to generation. It is.
Now the rules have changed, so the hit squad probably wouldn't be around today.
No, but the values and the morals that you guys set have been passed down. I agree.
For sure, man. So, Steve, I appreciate you having me on today, man. It's been a pleasure.
Yes.
Best of luck. But let's get us together, man. Let's get us together, man.
We will for sure.
Awesome.
So for Kevin Bannister, UConn football legend, former captain, I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. This has been Husky Talk. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges and throw them back at life.